Hello, and welcome back to Spaces Laces. I'm your host, Jeff Meyer. We have a lot on the plate for today, a lot of college and NFL football to talk. But first thing I want to dive on into is Pitt and Penn State. First off, I talked a lot of shit last week about the game, and boy, I got a lot of words to eat. Penn State put it on Pitt early and often. Wasn't very surprised by that, but going into the game, there's a little bit of me, being a Pitt supporter, was hoping for a different outcome. Obviously, I didn't get that, but it was a fun game, fun atmosphere. I'll tell you what, Beaver Stadium, that's a hell of a place to go watch a game or play at, for that instance, or for that matter. 109,000, I think it was 109,898, I believe, people in Beaver Stadium. It was the largest home crowd since 2009. The stadium was packed. It was electric. A lot of fun watching the game. Talked a lot of shit in the stands, in the stadium. Don't know if many people appreciated it, but didn't really get quite the response I was looking for. I thought it'd be some friendly banter, talking some shit. No one really stepped up to have some fun with me, so I kind of calmed down. Had a little, couple adult beverages in me, but I realized that no one was ready to have a little fun as far as the shit talking and friendly banter was concerned. So I dialed that down a bit, but it was a fun game to watch. One thing I took away from the game, Penn State, not that good. Pitt was pretty bad. So take it as you want, but Pitt at times moved the ball. They did what they wanted on offense. Defense shut down Barkley for the most part. Other than that one large catch he had, because he was one-on-one with a linebacker. One-on-one with a linebacker, there was no safety over top. I'm not sure what coverage they were running, but he caught that ball and he toasted everyone. You don't want to see that as far as the defense is concerned. Penn State got the one-on-one matchup. That was their big play of the game, if I remember correctly. That kind of opened things up for them. I believe it was right after halftime. Because still at halftime, I thought, Pitt still had a chance, but then the second half, they kind of pulled away. One thing I didn't like by Pat Narduzzi, it's kind of hard being at a game and not watching on TV. I didn't really see a close-up replay, but I believe it was in the third quarter. There was a long pass down the sideline. Penn State guy pulled it in. It appeared in the stadium. He was out of bounds. I didn't think he got 1 foot in with college. Thought he was out of bounds. I was hoping Narduzzi would call a timeout, let the upstairs review, because I'm pretty sure that's how it goes in college. You have to have it called down from up top. It's one thing I get confused sometimes between the college and NFL rules, because I mostly watch NFL. I know all the NFL rules in and out. Sometimes I get a little crossed over on the college stuff. But I would like to see Narduzzi call a timeout, allow them to have the opportunity for the upstairs booth to call down, challenge that play. Because at that point, Pitt still had a chance. It was 3rd and maybe 10. Caught the long pass down the sideline, flipped the script on the field position, got a first down. Penn State ended up punting, but the horrible decision of throwing the ball on the 3-yard line ended up in a safety, and that sealed the deal. Once that happened, I knew the game was over. I stayed till the end of the game, just wanted to watch, support. But that was the play. It kind of sealed the deal for me and Pitt's hope on coming back. But it was a fun game, fun atmosphere. I'll tell you this, though. The Penn State fans and people, they sure know how to tailgate. They take that extremely seriously, and they do a very, very good job of having fun, doing the cookout scene, playing cornhole and different kind of games. A lot of fun up there. A lot of fun. But what I took away from the game, Pitt's pretty bad. I see they're playing Oklahoma State this weekend. They're going to be 1-2. They're going to lose this weekend. Hate to say it, might as well mark that up in the win-loss category, because they're going to lose this weekend to Oklahoma State. If I remember correctly, the Oklahoma State quarterback from last year that torched Pitt is coming back. Their offense should be pretty good. I don't see Pitt scoring enough points to beat Oklahoma State this weekend. Penn State, after 2 weeks, is number 5 in the polls. I don't see it. I don't even see them. I see them as the 3rd best team in the Big Ten. I talk a lot of shit about them. They aren't going to beat Michigan. Might beat Oklahoma, or they might beat Ohio State after Oklahoma put it on them. Jeez, that was something to watch. But I still have Penn State being the 3rd best team in the Big Ten, not deserving of the number 5 spot in the country. But we have a lot of football left. We'll see how that plays out. We're talking about a lot of football left. The big matchup that I'm looking forward to this weekend, USC Texas. Let's go. Rematch, 2005 National Championship. Back in the day, I was a big supporter of USC. Reggie Bush, Lendell White, Matt Leinart. That offense could score. The Texans, Vince Young. I don't even remember who else was on that team, but all you need to know about that team was Vince Young, because he was a freak in college. There's no doubt about it, man. That guy, I was just watching highlights of that national championship the day before coming on. That was a fun game. There was a lot of ups and downs in that game. A lot of interesting things that happened in that game. But it was a 4th and 5. End of the game. Not much time left. Vince Young does his, the textbook classic. On every highlight reel of that national championship in college football, him rolling out at the right, scoring that touchdown to go up and put Texas ahead of USC. That was a game. I remember watching that game, wanting USC to win, but damn, that was 12 years ago at this point. That was a lot of fun watching that game back in the day. And this weekend, unfortunately, though, it's not going to be an epic game like that, I'll tell you that. USC is they're going to put it on Texas. Texas is going to get stomped this weekend. Feel bad for Longhorn supporters because USC is going to run it up. They were going to put it on them this weekend. But talking about that game 12 years ago now, looking at the NFL landscape these days, you would have thought that there'd be multiple players who played in that national championship who would still be having a dramatic impact on the NFL today. Number one that comes to mind is Reggie Bush. As a young guy, a young athlete, football player, you watched Reggie Bush's highlights. You liked football, enjoyed football at all. You have watched that highlight. Well, there's millions of them. That's the best part. Shouldn't even say that highlight. He has so many different highlight reels. He might have the most highlight reels out of any college football player ever. You can go on YouTube right now, search Reggie Bush, USC. You're going to have multiple highlight films of him doing some of the nastiest things to Division I football players. It wasn't like he was playing D3 or JUCO. This dude was out there on the national scale, Division I football, Pac-10 at that time, just tearing dudes apart, ripping them apart. He was so shifty, so unbelievably gifted at running the ball, so natural. There's so many words and adjectives you could describe the way he ran the ball. And the fact that he's not there, I don't even know, right off the top of my head, I don't even know if he's on a team right now in the NFL. But he went to the Saints out of the draft, went to the Lions, didn't have the NFL career everyone thought he would, like all the hype coming out of college. It's really unfortunate. I was a big fan of Reggie Bush back in the day. Matt Leinart, too. I can't remember at one point. I think they won 40 straight college games in a row with back-to-back national championships. I mean, that's just off the top of my head. You guys fact-check me, but it was something along those lines. Matt Leinart could throw the rock in college. Just didn't have it in the NFL. If I remember correctly, he went to the Cardinals. Didn't pan out there. But that team, Vince Young too, like he came out rookie of the year at the Tennessee Titans. Thought he was going to, light the league on fire. Didn't have the NFL career that everyone expected. And with Lendell White, a fellow Texan, didn't quite have the NFL career that we thought. Lendell White actually played pretty well in the NFL, but I was expecting bigger things of him coming out of USC with Reggie Bush. I believe they called him Lightning and Thunder and Lightning. Thunder and Lightning. There's a 1-2 punch there in USC. They were fun to watch. But bringing up Lendell White, saw an article in Bleacher Report today. Lendell White has publicly said that through his NFL career, he had 20 to 30 concussions and was addicted to Vicodin. You never want to hear that. That's basically all I can say. You don't want to hear that. All the stuff is going on the last couple years with concussions, NFL covering stuff up for multiple years, the lawsuits. 20 to 30 concussions. I had a couple concussions throughout my sporting career, whether it was football, wrestling. I had a couple of concussions. Not good. You don't want to have any concussions. I mean, pretty obvious to say that. But 20 to 30 concussions. That's scary. That is very scary for the long-term health of him. Like, obviously, I'm not a medical professional. I'm not a doctor, but those numbers are very, very scary. Let's just say, hypothetically, I had a kid someday, grew up, played college football, went to the NFL, and I knew my kid had 20 to 30 concussions. I would tell him to hang his cleats up immediately. Got your money, get out of there. That's a lot of concussions. And then not even talking about the other part of it, addicted to Viking. I know from personal experience between high school and college, you get banged up, you get bruised. Sometimes you gotta take some leave, ibuprofen, Advil to get through some practices, this or that. I mean, it's not a good thing to say, but sometimes you do. You're pretty sore, banged up, but addicted to Viking. That's a pretty serious painkiller. I can't even imagine, like I said, based off my experiences, being pretty sore and stuff. I couldn't imagine how sore, how bad you'd feel after NFL games and practices. So I'm sure he had a good reason to be taking it, but apparently it went a little too far, and I feel really bad for him. You know, you hate to see that in a guy. Lendell White, from everything I understand, is a pretty good guy, good football player. Hate to see that. But yeah, 20 to 30 concussions in this day and age. For crying out loud, we were worrying about, a couple weeks ago, if Tom Brady had one concussion last year that wasn't documented, which I think is total bullshit. It was just a media story that ESPN and them had to cook up because they had nothing interesting to talk about. But 20 to 30, that's a significant story. And I saw a Bleacher Coach just broke that about 45 minutes ago, somewhere around there. I'm very curious to see what ESPN has to say about that, what their thoughts are. They're going to say something, and I'm very, very curious to see what they're going to say. But keeping on the lines of NFL, last weekend, good weekend for betting. Made some money, made some good bets. Just a few of the ones I took. I took the Cowboys last weekend, took the Raiders. Those are my two locks for last week. Man, they panned out. Took the Packers. My big loss of the weekend, though, I took the Bengals. Looking back now, I feel really dumb for doing that, but I took the Bengals -3. Didn't even score. Or maybe it was 20 to 3, whatever, but they got blown out of the water by the Ravens, and I felt really dumb for putting money on them. I also feel very dumb for not going higher on the Panthers last weekend. What the hell was I thinking? The Panthers playing the 49ers. 49ers organization's a joke these days. I should have put my whole life savings on the Panthers this weekend. Or last weekend, excuse me. I also took the Rams, though. Matty B, shout out to you. They're your team this year, in my opinion. And guess what? I'm going to be betting on them pretty heavily here in the next couple of weeks. They can run the ball. They have solid defense. Don't necessarily know what Goff has yet, but we're going to find out soon. But I like the way the Rams looked in week 1, and I'm very, very happy and curious to see how they're going to go moving forward. But looking to this weekend, though, talking to the Rams, I'm going to be taking the Rams -2.5 this weekend. Dallas and the Titans are currently both -2. Those are my two big locks. I don't have their playing off the top of my head right here, but I looked at it earlier. I have Dallas -2, Titans -2. Those are my two locks of the week. I'm going to be putting a lot of money on it. I don't know if you guys watched the Cowboys and Giants last weekend. Dallas looked good. Dallas shut down the Giants. Shut them down pretty easily. Now, the Giants didn't have Odell Beckham. He's coming back this weekend. Just saw today a video of him in practice. Pretty sure he's going to be playing week 2. But I like Dallas. And just so you guys know, Dallas is playing Denver -2 this weekend. And the Titans are playing this search game here. Titans are playing Jacksonville. And currently I see it's at -1.5. I thought it was at -2. Regardless, I'm taking them. Titans are going to win this weekend. Start off 0-1. They played the Raiders. Raiders are the third best team in the AFC. So I like the Titans this week against the Jaguars. Jaguars look good week 1. Don't sleep on the Jaguars. As long as Blake Bortles can throw the ball a little bit more and get the ball downfield. Fournette looked good. Had over 100 yards rushing his first game. Maybe I should eat my words. Because, in the preseason there, he said the NFL was kind of easy. He was talking shit. Said he was, going to tear the NFL up. Well, you have 100 yards in your week 1 debut. Not too shabby, especially because Le'Veon Bell, the best running back in football, didn't show up for training camp, didn't show up for preseason, and looked like shit in the first game. Oh my God. I talked with Maddie, talked with Rick, talked with Richie about the preseason. I said it didn't matter as running back. Doesn't matter. Well, guess what? It did matter. I was wrong. On the first one, the mid one, I'm wrong. God, he looked bad. Running the ball, all right, whatever. Not that he didn't look that bad, but him and Ben were so off. It was unbelievable. Him in the passing game, he wasn't even a factor. It didn't even matter. And that's the thing he missed, getting all those reps with Ben. There was a couple times you saw Ben trying to get the ball. Ben thought he was going to do something else, and Bell clearly didn't. So shame on Bell. You should have came back for the last preseason game like Richie was calling for. You looked bad. And hopefully this weekend against the Vikings, the Steelers play the Vikings at home. Bell looks a little better this weekend. Starts getting that midseason form. But talking about midseason form, AB last weekend put it up. I think he had, 11 receptions, 182 yards, somewhere around that ballpark. He looked good. He looked midseason form. If it wasn't for AB, the Steelers were in trouble last weekend. The Steelers didn't block that punt and score a touchdown. That outcome of that game might be a little different. And Kaiser, the rookie quarterback for Cleveland, he can play football. Steelers, they brought a lot of different blitzes, showed him different coverages. He did well. Rookie quarterback. Him and Trubinsky for the Bears. I'm pretty big on them too as far as rookie quarterbacks this year. I liked how they were in the pocket. I like their composure. It looks like they can make all the throws. Maybe Cleveland has something here. I saw Peppers on defense. Looked like he had a decent game. Didn't really get involved that much because Cleveland was playing their safeties 25 yards downfield. I don't know about that strategy, but apparently it did something because they only lost to the Steelers by a couple points. So hats off to the Browns. The Browns, they look good week one. They look good. I would always, as a Steeler fan, you talk shit on the Browns. You don't expect much out of them because, year in and year out, they're not really much competition. But this year, maybe they will be. Maybe they will be. They sure as hell gave the Steelers a good game, week one. But with the Vikings coming in the Pittsburgh this weekend, I think the Steelers are -5.5 right now. I think I'm going to take that. I'm going to wait till Sunday. I'm going to look at some more things, look at some matchups thing. I'm going to hold off on calling a line that I'm going to take for the Steelers-Vikings because the Vikings defense is good. They look good their game one. I didn't get to watch the game. I was at work. But from what I understand, what I read and everything, they looked pretty good week one. Put it on the Saints. Maybe the NFC North is looking pretty interesting right now. Green Bay shut down the Seahawks. Aaron Rodgers did Aaron Rodgers things. Did enough to win the game. The defense for the Packers looked good. The Lions put it on the Cardinals, whereas the Cardinals are my second NFC team I was really high on other than the Packers this year. Lions look pretty good. The Bears only lost to the Falcons by 6 points. Vikings look good against the Saints. Maybe the NFC North has maybe they have 2 wild cards coming out of the North this year. I still like the West though. Got the Seahawks, Matty B's Rams. Maybe they'll do something this year. Got the Rams, you got the Seahawks, you got the Cardinals. Not having David Johnson though is going to be very, very detrimental to the Cardinals and their chance to make the playoffs this year. If I had to bet right now with David Johnson being out, earliest coming back before Christmas, the Cardinals are not going to make the playoffs. David Johnson was their splash player. He was their difference maker. Without David Johnson, the Cardinals are not going to get through the NFC West. I mean, they'll win 2 games against the 49ers. I do know that because, god damn, they look bad. But I do not think that they have enough necessarily to make the playoffs this year. Maybe David Johnson is able to come back a little sooner, but we'll see. That's still, up for debate, and can't really predict the future with that and injuries. But just want to go quick round here, get a little high tempo like Richie likes to do on the big show with college football. Miami, Florida State postponed. You hate to see that, the hurricane down there. I was really looking forward to that game. But Pitt, Oklahoma State. I'm taking Oklahoma State in that. Michigan over Air Force. Florida over Tennessee. I saw a lot out of Florida against Michigan week one. I like Florida. Florida's going to beat Tennessee. And then I saw a line, which I'm going to be betting on this weekend. UCLA -3 with Memphis. Cash it. I'm taking UCLA all day against Memphis. So those are a couple of my high-tempo, quick-hitter people that I'm going to be taking this weekend. I'm not going to be betting on Michigan against Air Force, though, because the spread's like minus 23.5, which I'm sure they'll cover. But that's one thing I hate about college betting. When you have these really good programs, Power 5 conference teams, playing these nobody, small-ass teams, you don't know what the coaches are going to do. If they're going to get up and ride, get up, pull some players, enjoy the easy win, or if they're going to put up 70 points and try to get some style points. I know back in the BCS days, they're worried about style points. Same is true with the college playoff series. Quality wins and how bad point differential against lesser opponents are. That's important. So I don't like betting on some of those games, but I will be betting on Florida. I will be taking Florida, and I will be taking UCLA this weekend. I don't know how much money I'm putting on it, but I'm definitely going to be taking them this weekend. But that's what I like. In Alabama's playing some I was looking through the top 25. A lot of teams are playing nobodies this weekend. Georgia's playing Stafford, or not Stafford, but some bullshit school. Penn State's playing Georgia State. So Penn State's going to go out and be 3-0. That's for sure. Looks like Michigan's going to be 3-0. I didn't see who Ohio State's playing, but I'm sure they're going to win this weekend, so they're going to be 2-1. So it looks like Michigan and Penn State are going to be leading the way, in my opinion, in the Big Ten after this week. But that's what I got for college. Oh, last thing about college I want to talk about is game day. Going to New York City, Times Square. What the hell is that? Why in the world are you doing that? I don't know who's in charge of this, but that's a piss poor decision. Someone needs their head for this. College game day is awesome. You know why? Because it goes to the stadium. You have all the college kids getting up early, going out, showing out for their team, all the signs, all the excitement. Everyone's at the stadium, and you're going to Times Square. Who the hell was showing up? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm full of shit, but I wouldn't show up. I think that's stupid. Like, what are you going to get? Kids from or I don't even know what the college right there is. I was going to say NC State, but it's not NC State because that's in North Carolina, obviously. Or NYU, that's what I was thinking. What, students from NYU, Columbia, those kind of schools going to show up? No, they're not going to show up. I don't know what the hell you're doing. Pick a game, pick the best game of the week, go there like always. I don't know what kind of marketing. This is obviously someone thought this was going to be good for college game day, but I think it's full of shit. I think it's stupid. I don't know. I don't like it, but just a quick wrap up here on college game day. Pitt looked bad. Penn State prevailed. No brainer. Actually, before we wrap up, talking about no brainers, I did want to mention this earlier. Might as well hit on it now. Talking about Pitt, Penn State. I'm going through my notes here again. One of the big reasons why Pitt can't compete with Penn State right now, and Rick made an interesting point in our group messages yesterday. You got Penn State on the right, and you got Ohio State on the left. And they're, Penn State's the little man or little brother left in between trying to fight over the scraps of recruiting. It's a fair point. I can see it. But my point is why Penn State will never be the best in the Big Ten is because if you're looking at college recruiting, you're a kid coming out of college, you want to go to the best university, you want to go play for the best coach. Well, the best coach in the Big Ten is Urban Meyer and Jim Harbaugh. And I'm hoping I'm speaking for a lot of high school students and players coming out of high school. They're going to want to play for the best coach. And guess what? James Franklin is not a better coach than Urban Meyer or Jim Harbaugh. He might be a better coach than Pat Narduzzi. We'll see about that in the next couple of years. But James Franklin is doing a hell of a job recruiting. There's no doubt about that. Pat Narduzzi needs some more time. Pitt's got a long way to go. They do got a long way to go. Last year, they put it on Penn State. And talking about James Franklin, god damn it. Have some class, dude. You beat Pitt. Congratulations. And you're like, this isn't any bigger than Akron. Wow, dude. Congratulations. Saying this is Pitt's Super Bowl. What the hell are you talking about? You're talking about, I saw Rich Eisen say something. I'm pretty sure it's Rich Eisen. About last year. If Pitt had a Super Bowl win last year, guess what, bro? It was beating Clemson, who won the national championship. It wasn't beating Penn State. Are you full of shit? Like, that's not how it works. Yes, it was a quality win against Penn State. Every Pitt fan, Pitt player, coaching staff, member wanted to beat Penn State last year. So yeah, it was a big one, but it wasn't the Super Bowl. They beat Clemson at Death Valley. So grow up, James Franklin. Grow up. You're not as good as you think you are as far as coaching, your team, this or that. Because listen, you're third class in the Big Ten, in my opinion. So grow up, beat the teams you're supposed to, get whooped at home by Michigan, go on the road and lose at Ohio State, and see how meaningful that Pitt win is at the end of the year. Because if you lose to Pitt too, you're getting run out of Happy Valley, Creepy Valley. People are going to run you out of there. But talking about that again, the reason why it was so fun to go to Penn State, to go to Beaver Stadium, enjoy that game. If you live in the State College area, Central PA, guess what? You don't have many things to do. If you're a college student at Penn State, guess what you're going to do in the weekend? You're going to drink, and you're going to support Penn State football. Because if you're not doing that, you're probably outside tipping cows and shit and getting hammered and doing stupid shit. There's not much to do. Pennsylvania, my one friend from college never heard this, so I went to Pitt, and my one friend from New York's like, Pennsylvania is summed up as Pittsburgh on the left, Philly on the right, and you got Alabama in between. And guess what? That's true. There's not much to do in Central PA. It's not a lot of fun. So if you live in Central PA, you don't have a professional team. You don't. So guess what you have? You have Penn State football. You go to school at Pitt, and this is one thing that hurts Pitt, and I want to get into with recruiting and why Pitt quite isn't there. It's going to take a couple years to get Pitt where I want it to be, and I'm sure the program wants to get it to be. You go to Pitt, you have a lot of options in the week. A lot of things to do. A lot of things in the city to do for fun. Now, me and my friends, we watch football and drank. Well, guess what? A lot of college students don't do that. But with that being said, me and my friends on Saturdays, instead of going down the Heinz Field for them to play Buffalo or Youngstown State, we would drink and then worry about the Steelers on Sunday, because guess what? We had professional teams in Pittsburgh. We have the Pittsburgh Steelers, one of the best franchises in sports in general. One of the top 10 franchises. Put them up there with the Cowboys. I hate to say it. The Cowboys, Packers, Patriots, 49ers, historically really good in football. Put them up there with the Lakers, Celtics, you name it. You can put the Steelers in that category. So if you live and go to school in Pittsburgh, on Sundays, it's the Sabbath. You have Steeler football on Sundays. So Saturdays, you're going to day drink and do whatever. Like, your number one priority for the weekend isn't Pitt football. Unfortunately, it's not. It's never going to be when you have the Steelers on Sunday. And what really hurts them, too, is you have those college kids. I got a couple friends who, like, they enjoyed football, but they weren't huge football fans. So what they did is basically what me and a couple of my friends did. We wanted to go to the game. They would tag along with. Sometimes they're like, oh, God, I'm kind of hungover from the night before. I don't want to go down the Heinz Field today, ride on a stupid school bus for 15, 20 minutes and go to the game. So they'd hang back, wait till we got back from the game, and then go out and do whatever we were doing on a Saturday night. But if Pitt had an on-site facility, on-campus stadium, I think it's a whole different ballgame with recruiting and bringing in big Division I football players and talent. Because if you have an on-stadium campus, all those tweeners, all those college kids, girls, guys, whatever, don't really like football but enjoy the atmosphere, want to go to a game, want to hang out, want to drink, want to do this or that, they're going to stumble out of their dorm rooms, stumble out of their apartments, stumble out of their houses, and walk to the on-campus stadium. They're not going to stumble out of bed, try to fix their hair up and ride a school bus, a yellow school bus when you're in college, 25 minutes to the North Shore and get on, and go to the stadium. They're not going to do it. It's just not how it is. College students are lazy. College students are this or that. They're not going to take the time to go down to Heinz Field when they should have an on-campus stadium. This is one of the big points Richie made made the other day, about a couple years ago. Pitt made a decision. They wanted to go all in basketball. They used to have a stadium on campus. It was awesome from what I understand. I never was there. But Pitt used to have a stadium in Oakland back in the day. Well, now they have the Pete. They invested in the Peterson Event Center. Pitt went all in on Big East and Big East basketball. They wanted to be a basketball school. And in my opinion, they made a huge mistake. They should have stuck with football. They won national championships in the 70s and maybe the 80s. I know, but they're 9-time national champions in football. I know a couple from back in the day. A lot of people say they shouldn't count and don't matter. Well, they won the national championship, so sorry, it does count. But I know they won, the national championship in the 70s. I think they won one in the early 80s, but they went away from being a football program, a football school. They shifted gears to be a basketball school, and I think that was a huge miscalculated mistake. But they have the Peterson, really nice. They switched to a basketball school, so I rambled a little bit there, but let me formulate my thoughts into one idea here. If Pitt wants to compete with Penn State, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Michigan, Maryland, West Virginia, all the schools, big schools that are around them, they need to get an on-campus stadium. They need to do a better job of keeping players in Western PA, that Whippeal hotbed. As you see in the NFL, there's tons of talent in the last 25 years who've come out, grew up Western PA, had successful, great NFL careers right out of the Whippeal. Guess what? If you're a Pitt, you got to keep your boys at home. Whoever is in the Whippeal, Western PA, you got to keep them at home. Don't let them go to Penn State. Don't let them go to Ohio State. Don't let them go to Michigan. Don't let them go down to WU. Keep them at home. So get a stadium, do a better job of recruiting, keeping your Whippeal boys, and win the games you're supposed to. Don't go to fucking overtime with Youngstown State. Win those games. Got to win the games you're supposed to. My high school coach always said this, and I thought it was a great thing to follow in football. Take care of the games you're supposed to. Win the games that you're supposed to. Win the games you're supposed to, and let the big games take care of themselves. I think Pitt did that for the most part last year. They were successful. Narduzzi's a pretty good coach. They beat their lesser teams, the not great competition. They beat Penn State. They beat Clemson. Lost a nail-biter to Oklahoma State. They lost a nail-biter to UNC. Pitt played pretty good football last year. So win the games you're supposed to and let the big games take care of themselves. But I think the campus thing, or the facility not on campus, the stadium, recruiting trouble, I think that all hurts Penn State, misspoke. It hurts Pitt a lot compared to some of these other bigger schools. And it also hurt them being the Big East there for years. Now they're in the ACC. Richie made a good point the other day with geographic mapping and how the ACC is broken up into the two conferences. They should have a North and South. If you go to Pitt, this is his point now. If you go to Pitt, you might have to go to Florida to see your kid play. The only games you can see are the home games, essentially. If you're a Western PA kid who grew up near Pittsburgh, your family's probably only going to have the ability to go to Virginia Tech or home games. You go to Penn State, how the Big Ten's set up. You can drive 6-7 hours to Michigan. I mean, that's a haul. Ohio State's not that far. Maryland's not that far. It's geographically set up better as far as getting to see your kids play, compete at Division I level. But I think Pat Narduzzi is the right fit for Pitt. We're going to see in the next couple of years if it pans out, though. I just hope he stays around. Last couple of years has been really hard to keep coaches to stay around to get their recruits and get their ideology and their coaching style in place for the future. So, Pitt got their ass kicked by Penn State last weekend. Shit happens. Let's move forward. There's still a lot of games left in the season. Hoping that Pitt has a decent season. Now I'm going to wrap it up. I already talked enough about Pitt. USC is going to kill Texas this weekend. The ghost of Reggie Bush, Lendell White, Matt Leinart are going to get a little redemption here because USC is going to stomp Texas. Miami, Florida State, postponed. Unfortunate. Pitt's going to lose to Oklahoma State this weekend. Just talking about Pitt. I hope they have a good season. They're going to lose to Oklahoma State. Michigan's going to thump Air Force. Florida's going to beat Tennessee, and UCLA is going to beat Memphis. And my Steelers are going to beat the Vikings this weekend. And you guys have a good weekend. I went long today trying to incorporate a few more things. Hopefully the quality is better. I'm trying the mic closer. I can hear it pop a little bit. So now I might just need to get one of those filter things. I forget what they're called, the sound filters, whatnot. But you guys have a great weekend. Hope you enjoyed the day. This is Jeff Meyer on Spaces Laces. Over and out.